lesson. Let's start the lesson and allow others join during the course of the lecture. Right. So today I am going to discuss different types of questions. Question types. There's a very good lesson in your module document, campus document. So I'm going to make use of that today. It's about test construction. So I'm going to make use of that document and continue our discussion today. So let me share that with you. Yes, so this is it, right? We are going to discuss types of test items, right? Providing appropriate test items or questions in the next step on making an achievement test. In written test, two major categories can be used to classify the most widely used item types as follows, right? So it's the duty of the class teacher or the subject teacher to prepare good achievement tests. After teaching our students for some time, maybe for a term, for 2 terms, or maybe for an year, teachers should check the achievement of the students. Right. For that, teachers are required to prepare achievement tests. So here, we are going to discuss some types of questions we can use in those achievement tests, right? The broadest classification and the easiest classification for test items is that we can divide them into 2 sections as supply type and selection type. Supply type and selection type. So as the 2 words suggest, in the supply type questions, the students or the candidates, the examinees have to supply the answer. They have to provide the answer. So for example, it is like if it is a question paper, right? There are questions that demand the students to give an answer from their end. Like they have to think, use their knowledge, remind what they have learned. In some cases, apply the theories they have learned, or evaluate something, and they have to write a long answer. If it's a written test, right? They have to supply. If it's an oral test, they have to give the answer orally. They have to speak long, right? The other type is selection type. So what happens in the selection type is that if I am the paper setter, I give the answers. I give several answers, right? Among them, there's only one correct answer. So what the candidate has to do is to select the correct answer. That's called the selection type. Right? In the selection type, we may have different levels of selection. Like there can be binary choice. 2 options are given. So what you have to do is to select one. Right? So even if the students don't know the answer, there's a 50% possibility of getting it correct because the answers questions like yes, no, and true, false, right, wrong. They are also supply type. So among those 2, we have to select one. And that one either right or wrong. So there's a 50% possibility of going correct. And then there can be others, like there can be 3 choices. So you have to select one. There can be 4 choices. Select one. There can be 5 choices. Select the correct one. So as the number of options, if you don't know the answer, if you directly know the answer, there's nothing wrong. Leave the other options, just select the correct option, then you are correct. So we can see types of items for written tests. We have the supply type and selection type. In the supply type, we divide it into two as short answer variety and extended answer variety. In the short answer variety, you may require to write just one word, two words, a simple phrase, or one sentence like short answer, right? In the extended answer variety, you have to write long answers. So that's where we find the examples for extended answer supply type questions, essay type questions. If the paper asks you to write an essay, write an article, write a story, write a brief description, or write a letter, formal or informal letter, all are extended answer variety. The other side, we have selection type matching variety. You must have seen questions like in the primary grade students. You give a set of pictures. The other side, we give a set of names, nouns. So match the correct picture with the correct noun, correct word. That is an example for matching variety. Next one, it should be TWO, two alternatives variety, two alternatives. Right? There are only two alternatives like yes, no, right, wrong, true, false, etc. Right. The other side, we have MCQ, multiple choice question variety, multiple choice. So there are multiple choices. There can be 3 choices, 4 choices, 5 choices. Among them, there's only one correct answer. So what you are supposed to do is to select the correct answer. Those are few examples. Basic classification of these test items. So let's look at the supply type one, a test which the student responds by providing an answer. Short answer type. So among the supply type, we are looking at the short answer type first, right? There are examples. Who stepped onto the moon first? So there's only one word. The franchise is given to Sri Lanka in the year. So you should know the answer and write that answer. Right. Advantages of this type, this test type. It is easy to write test items. It is useful to continuous evaluation. Easy to write the test item. So it's good from the teacher's side. Easy for the teacher. You can write the test item quickly. Guessing is less. You can't make guesses because there's a correct answer. Always a correct answer, right? Who stepped onto the moon first? Everyone in the world knows that. So you can't make guesses. Should know the correct answer. The franchise is given to Sri Lanka. There's a particular year. They're under a particular constitution, right? Given by the British colonial rulers. So which year is that? You should know the year. A broad range of the syllabus are represented. A broad range of the syllabus are represented. For that, of course, you need to have many questions like this, right? When you come to the other type, that is long answer type, then it's clearly visible that we can cover like broad area, broad range of the syllabus within one question. The time duration for answering is less and questions that measure more subject matter can be applied. Because since it demands a very short answer, you don't have to spend a lot of time writing answers. So within a minute, you can write the answer. And at the same time, more subject matter can be applied. Like in this type of questions, we can include a lot of subject knowledge into it. It is more appropriate to primary classes because it measures the simple knowledge. Simple knowledge means if we take things like Bloom's taxonomy, right? It's knowledge comprehension. So it's like testing memory. Like when was the franchise given to Sri Lanka? That's number. That's a memory. Who went to? You should remember that. We have limitations. Measures the simple learning outcomes limited to the knowledge. So that on the one hand, it's an advantage, right? We say advantage, more appropriate to primary class because it measures the simple knowledge, right? But on the other hand, it can be a limitation because we should be able to measure the higher order skills also, cognitive skills. But they can be used to check whether simple learning out taxonomy, we have 6 levels. The most basic one is the knowledge or remembering. So we can check, often we can check only knowledge, the basic level. Measuring complex thinking abilities is difficult. It's difficult to measure because such questions cannot be made. Because now this is a limited answer, right? You can't go for extended answers. So it's difficult to measure complex thinking abilities. No opportunities to write creative, complete answers from the point of view, from the side of the learner, right? Learner may have good creative ideas. Learner may want to write a long answer. But the problem is because we are expecting a short answer, so they lose that opportunity. That's a limitation, a drawback. Then it says facts that taken into consideration in constructing short answer tests. So we have to take these facts into consideration if we are preparing short answer variety questions. Simple language should be used. It's understood. The language should be simple so that everybody can easily understand. Words should be used without various meanings. Right? So the words cannot be ambiguous. Don't use ambiguous words. Ambiguous means possible of giving several meanings. So such words should not be included in the questions. Words should be used without various meanings. Within the text, the same word should have the same meaning only, not two meanings. So words should be used without various meanings. So always select direct, meaningful words, vocabulary. Keeping sufficient space for the answer. Right, that's another thing we have to consider. So if you're asking them to write a sentence, in the question paper itself, there should be enough space for a 15-word sentence. If you ask a question like, okay, write an essay of 200 to 250 words. Now there should be enough paper for that. Right? Enough paper that can cover about 2,500 words. So we need to keep sufficient space for the answers. Give answers space within the paper, on the paper itself. It is best to leave only one blank. It is best to leave only one blank, right? So in some cases, we break it into separate parts like if we expect about 2-3 word answers, in some cases to help the candidate, we put 2-3 blanks. Right? But it says that it's advisable, that it's best to leave only one blank. Extracting sentences from the book is not appropriate. So especially in reading texts, if you give a reading exercise or a reading test, the students can read the passage and provide the answer. But at the same time, if they can directly take the answer, a meaningful chunk, several sentences from the text itself and copy it as the answer, that's not a good question anyway. This question should allow them to think, summarize facts, and make necessary changes and present it as the answer. Right. So it's difficult to believe that extracting sentences from the book is not appropriate. Depending on the situation, you can agree with it or disagree. Right. Next, we have supply type questions that expect extended answers. That's extended answer variety. In other words, they are the essay type questions, essay tests. Answering the questions given with individuals' own words within the given period of time is an essay, right? So the essay we give a topic for the students, and we give a word limit also, right? So that we can keep them within a range. So, and on the other hand, the candidate themselves have to write the answer using their own words. And there's a time limit also. For each question in the examinations, they give the marks also, 20 marks, and you may dedicate about 20 minutes for the question. That instruction is there. So therefore, these questions should be the answers should be complete within the given period of time. So we have some good characteristics. Good characteristics of essay type tests or the supply type tests. Having the freedom to present the answer. The students or the candidates, they have their freedom to present their answer. So it can be like small paragraphs or not so small paragraphs, average size paragraphs into this number of pages, like that. We have the freedom to present our answers there, right, based on the structure. A direct approach to important aim and able to present questions so as to measure higher order thinking. That's one of the most important things, right? A direct approach to important aim and able to present questions so as to measure higher order thinking. So the higher order thinking skills are, the higher order mental abilities are, usually we can start with application or applying, right? Then we have analysis, right? Then you have synthesis, that means creating, but when it comes creating in the modern version, creating is the best thing. Next, you have the evaluation. So evaluation in the new version, it comes below creating. Evaluating comes before creating. So one step lower. We have to find questions or make questions to measure those higher order abilities like analyzing or then evaluating, creating. Those skills should be tested. Focusing students for overweaving learned facts. Focusing students for overweaving learned facts. Right. So we can guide our students to think beyond the learned facts. We have learned certain facts. These facts are there. They are available in the textbooks, exercise books, notebooks, everywhere. But our target is to think beyond them, connect to the world, practical world. So that's what we mean of overweaving learned facts. So these questions allow them do so. They can think and write. If there's some additional knowledge they have gathered from somewhere else, they can add them in their answers. Right? So focusing students for overweaving learned facts. That's a good thing. They can learn again. Introspection of the personality. Introspection of the personality. You think about yourself again, back, and write about it. So it's a kind of self-realization. Able to measure the creative ability. So that's the highest mental order according to the latest Bloom's taxonomy, the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Creating is the highest level, highest cognitive ability. So we can measure that highest cognitive ability also if we have a good plan here. It affects the nature of learning and teaching. In constructing items based on higher level objectives, students attempt to provide appropriate answers for them. Right. So it affects the nature of learning and teaching. That depends based on how the adults behave, the experienced people behave, right? This effect of nature of learning may vary. There can be very high effect in some places, or there can be just a little, just a small effect on it. So this affects the nature of learning and teaching in constructing items based on higher level objects. Students attempt to provide appropriate answers for them. So if we can prepare good text, challenging one, the students will also take it as a challenge and try to give a better answer, good answer, matching answer. Now we look at weak characteristics of these essay type questions. Relevant and irrelevant information are provided as answers because of the unclear questions. Now, if the question is not clear, there's a tendency of the candidates writing about something else. For example, now let's see, we give a question like, write a short description about air pollution. Right? So if they misunderstand the word air pollution, they may write about pollution in general, which makes you write pages, and then you can't stop writing also. Kills your time. So we don't know whether they will give us relevant information only. There can be relevant information also. Using words with variety of meanings. Using words with variety of meanings. When the word has several meanings, that can distort the overall meaning of the text. So that can be a disadvantage. Students are misled by using the action verbs such as inquire. What do you think? So when you say, what do you think? Right, we don't really know whether the students are thinking about the question or something else. Right. So we have to be careful when we select or use words with the questions. Problem of writing short notes. Problem of writing short notes. Right. Our students are not so much educated, skillful to write the proper note for them. Right. So then teachers have to help them with notes. So here there's one problem of writing short notes. Right? They're not used to doing that. So there can be problems of taking notes. At the end of the course, the students may complain that our lecturer didn't give us notes. Whereas we expect them to listen to our lectures and make their own what do you call make their own notes, right? Long or short notes. Unclear of students' task expected. So in some cases, because if we use ambiguous words as we suggested earlier, then the students may not know the task clearly. Now, if you say, compare these two concepts, compare the two things, let's say, compare the natural habitats of natural habitats of birds with swamp animals. So then some people might just write facts, comparing in words. Swamp animals are like this and the birds are like this. So like that you can give the characteristics. Or some people may divide the paper, the answer script into two. In one side, they will put the topic one, the swamp animals, the other birds. So right now you write characteristics in either column, right? So that the examiner can see. So that's another one, right? Unclear of students' task expected. So the students know whether to write it as an essay or write point by point separately, comparing things, or put it into a table and compare and contrast. So then there can be issues related to giving instruction of the question. Lack of reliability of the test. It should be TEST, because it's inconvenient of having accurate measurement about the success of answers, right? So there can be reliability issues. We don't know whether the test will provide the similar type of results when it is repeated several times. So there can be reliability issues, because the same questions, same papers may be used by different people at different times. In a essay test, there are lack of questions that have to be answered within a limited period. Yes. So even if it's a 3-hour paper, for the writing answers, long writing answers, the maximum number we can give is 6, giving half an hour for each question. Right. So therefore, opportunity for preparing questions using the entire syllabus is less. So there are a lack of questions that have to be answered within a limited period. So because of that, right, opportunity for preparing questions using the entire syllabus is less. So because it's a limited period, so we can include just a limited number of questions. So then we have to select from the syllabus also, right? From the syllabus, we have to select the most important things and prepare the questions, prepare the paper. Allowing students to select questions, they will write answers for a variety of questions. Therefore, marking papers so as to get an accurate measurement is difficult. So when there are many writing answer questions, so we don't know what will happen there. For we ask the students to select questions. So for example, if we are giving about 6 questions and ask them to write answers only for 2 or 3, right? So we don't know which student will select which question. There can be so many different combinations, like some may select questions from 1 to 3 and another group will select 4 to 6, right? Then there's another group selecting from 2 to 5, the others like 6, 7, 1, right? So 2 to 4, then 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 1. So like that, there can be so many different combinations. We are not sure about that. So we don't know which question will be selected by the students. So therefore, we need experts to mark these answers. Weight of the questions is not similar. Yes, so in some cases, the first question can be much easier than the rest of the questions. If there are 6 questions, right? 1 or 2 will be easy, whereas the others are difficult. Right? So we don't know who will be writing, who will select the easy ones, easy questions, who will select the difficult questions. So the weight of the questions is not similar. That's an issue. That's a concern. Following are the examples for essay type questions constructed with various deficiencies. There are deficiencies, problems. Evaluate the personal diversity illustrated by Andersu. Discuss the importance of a learning aid. How races are appropriate for children. It is so inquire about the winning and defeat. So you can see different issues are there. Example 2, you can see denote 4 facts that should be considered by a teacher in organizing a primary classroom. Denote 2 obstacles available in organizing such a classroom and denote in brief the thing you have to do for preventing them. Draw a classroom design appropriate to a lower primary class. Right, so there are different types of questions. And you see a third type example, inquire the regulations of the 1972 government constitution, appointed as the most superior institution of the National Government Committee. So when they say inquire, we don't know in which form we should give the result of inquiring. You inquire, you can just mentally inquire and form an answer within it. Or are they like requesting for written answers? So the other thing is yes, in the English, which format should be followed, and on the other hand, are we going to agree with the regulations or disagree? So because not enough instruction is given, this can be complex. Example 4, discuss the power and the function of the executive president under the following headings. Government leader, leader of the executive presidency, leader of the cabinet. So like that, we give different sections. Again, when you say discuss, it's not clear whether we are supposed to write answers or just orally present them, right? Whether in what form is the presentation expected. There can be so many issues arising from it, right? So then we have some problems created in marking essay answers, right? The variance of the examiner. Variance of the examiner. The variance occurred in applying the method for marking answer scripts. The variance occurred in spending the time for marking answer script. The variance occurred in the number of questions included to the test. The variance occurred in the number of examiners involved for marking answer scripts, right? So in so many different ways, there can be variance, differences, right? So we don't know what result will come in these matters. So there are some problems created in marking, applying the method for marking answer script. So spending time for marking answer script. So different people will spend different amount of time for the same question. So that depends. Suggestions for improving essay questions. So you can plan the test using a table of specification. I think we discussed about the table of specification. So in the table of specification, you prepare a table, put the one side, in the other side you include the Bloom's taxonomy level. Then select questions accordingly. Then you can plan the test well. Using definite action verbs, we should use definite action verbs. If you really want them to write, give the word write, not discuss, not inquire. We want them to write something, so get them write something. Using definite action verbs, using model answer in marking answer scripts. Using model answer in marking answer script. This naturally happens. We have a kind of pilot marking, right? Where you do some questions, then they discuss. The panels discuss and come to a conclusion. So using model answer in marking answer scripts, right? So for that, we can give some model answers and get different markers, give marks separately, and then you can analyze and see whether there's an average mark or whether there's a huge gap between the two examples. So then again, then you have to inquire into that, inquire deep into that. Marking answers using analytical method, multi-evaluation. So that's the same paper evaluated by different people, different candidates. Using panel marking, that's what is applied even today. A panel of markers is appointed, so they get together and do the marking. So when there's a question, a problem, an issue related to that, they can discuss and come to a conclusion. So that's how the panel marking is beneficial. All right. So now you have been listening to me for quite a long time. So I would like to give you a simple exercise. Right? It's just a very simple one. Write an essay type question. Question is write an essay type question. So you can select any subject area you like. Select any subject area you like, and imagine that you are going to give an essay type question on that particular subject, right? Subject and topic. Select a topic, special topic from a lesson you teach. So take that special area, right? And write a question. You are going to give a question on that section to your students, right? And this question should be an open-ended question where the students can write a long answer. So it should be essay type question. On the other hand, it should be a supply type question, right? Okay, so select any subject area you like, topic area you like, and just write one good essay type question, right? One good essay type question. I want a question like this, right? So you can see so many examples here, but there are small defects. So let's see what you can do. Write a question like this, right? Like denote 4 facts that should be considered by a teacher in organizing a primary classroom, right? So something like that. Can you write a question like that? You can break information into small parts, like you can say, let's say, this is an example. Don't write this as your question, right? Write an essay about environmental pollution. Pay attention on air pollution, land pollution, and water pollution separately. So they have given us instruction. We would follow the instruction, and there can be a word limit. So stay in the word limit and write answers, right? So you are going to give a test to your students, and as the class teacher or as the subject teacher, just write one question, one essay type question be given to those students, right? So as usual, you can type your question because it's one question, but it may have about 2-3 sentences anyway. Anyway, so if you are confident, you can speak. You can read that read the question you have written, or you can type it in the chat and send it to us, or take a picture of it and send it to the chat. All right, any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, when we are creating a question for mathematics in essay types, can we create such a question for mathematics? I'm thinking we can create a structured one. A structured essay.
Yes. True, that's true. Because there's no possibility of preparing an essay type question for mathematics. Mathematics, of course, you can create, but that would be a very complex question, like analyzing or explaining a particular theory, particular concept that comes in mathematics. That's difficult. So just please forget about mathematics, right? You can't write an essay type question for mathematics. So try to select a different subject.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. Any other question? Right, no more questions. I'll give you about 5 minutes for this. Till I am giving time for you to think and write your answer, then send us the answer in the chat. Answer means the question you are writing. All right, take 5 minutes.
Sir, excuse me,
Yes.
sir, can you repeat the question because my line is not too clear?
Question is that select any subject area you like, any topic from your subject, except mathematics, select some other subject, and write an essay type question. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. So I have received one answer. Answer in a sense, one question. What about the others? Okay, two answers. I have received two good questions. One is there. Right. Vishal, that's also a good question. We have 5 members in the meeting, so I have received 3 answers by now. What about the others, other 2? Who is there? We have Ilma, Tarani. What about them? Are you in the meeting or somewhere else? Digitally present only? Or no, I'm getting answers. Good. Functions of mirror bonds. Good. Right, yes. They are good questions. So what about our Ilma? Where's your answer? All the others have responded. All the others have sent me their questions and I have personally responded to everybody. Right, okay. Then let's continue from there. So that's about essay type questions. Yes, the answer is coming. Let me see this one also. All right. Okay. That's a comment. Let's look at the rest of the questions. Structured or structuring essay questions. We can use both names, structuring or structured essay questions. Describe the importance of photosynthesis, right? Okay, good. Provision of a frame for the answer through the question. So we can structure the essay question essay type questions are subjective questions. Subjective means the answer depends on the same answer is marked by 2 or 3 different markers. There can be differences in marks also. So we call them subjective questions. We can reduce the subjectivity of essay type questions by structuring them. Right. So we have provision of a frame for the answer through the question. We give a framework for the students to write the answer. So with that, we give certain limitations for them. So then they don't go beyond those limitations. As a result, the subjectivity is reduced. Example 1, inquire briefly the changes occurred by renovating 1924 government constitution under the following headlines. So we are giving here 3 different headlines. Answer should be within these 3 areas. So there's one way of limiting their answers. The Committee of the Constitution, Financial Committee, and the entitled power of the government. Then the second one is constructing the question with parts. Example, what are major steps that should be followed by a test maker in constructing an achievement test used to a test paper? Discuss the importance of using various types of questions for measuring achievement, right? So the broad topic is achievement tests. And we have divided that into 3 different sections. So that is again structuring. Third one, mentioning the things that should be done or should not be done in the provision of the answer. Let's look at producers. Set the floor price of a good that should be sold by social producers. What are the changes that will happen? There's a problem in English that will happen by such involvement. Explain with a diagram. So now there should be a diagram. So then the marking is easy. Think that there's a constant supply of any good or service and there exists an excess demand under the current price. Present the above explanation by using a diagram. Right? So we are asking them to draw a diagram and then explanation. So then it's easy. We are giving a particular format for them. So they have to follow that. The example 3, what are the changes occurred in the competitive market economy because of the following things? So again, we are for the good because the changes of customer choice. The production cost will decrease on technology changes, show changes step by step. No need to draw diagrams. So there are no need to draw diagrams, but you have to show the changes step by step. Then we have 3 other question types like constructing questions based on a table, constructing questions based on pictures, and constructing questions based on graphs. So there can be different types of questions. So all these questions are called information transfer questions. We have given information in one form, and they are supposed to transfer the information into another form. Question based on responsible for creating French Revolution. It's creating. Explain this statement by considering the contribution of following categories. So you have 4 categories. Now you have to limit your answers in these 4 categories, like kings, elite people, middle class, mass. structuring the question in the length of the answer. We give a word limit. Instructing to restrict the answer to a page or 2 pages or number of words. Or you can control the answer by the marks. Within the subsections, we give marks, allocated number of marks. So students can limit their answers by looking at the marks, number of marks. What is pre-process of chorus in Greek drama? 4 marks, right? So we should know that we have only 4 marks. So then oh, sorry, I was disconnected. Right. Let me share the screen. Oh my God. The host has disabled participant sharing. Let's see. Who is the host now?